Hello, welcome to Gurukul's CAT 100 series, a series that's designed specifically to take you from your study room to the corporate boardroom. I am Prady Sharma and this is Verbal Mastery with Prady. This is today's passage, and in case you want to take this up as a test, then all you're going to do is go to www.thegurukul.org.in and sign up to the 100 Days to CAT test series. Now, in this 100 Days to CAT test series, we are uploading 100 tests of Quant, LRDI, and verbal ability, all for free, just to keep you motivated, keep you consistent on your practice, and help you crack CAT 2025. So, let's get into the passage. This is your first paragraph. Pause the video here, jot down all the main points, and then we're going to get into the second paragraph. This is your second paragraph. Again, pause the video here, jot down all the main points, then we'll go into the third paragraph. Alright guys, third paragraph. This is a good paragraph, so pause the video here, jot down all the main points, and then we'll go into the last paragraph of the passage. Last paragraph of the passage, guys. Pause the video here, jot down all the main points, and then we're going to go into the questions. So, this is your question number 1. Pause the video here, answer this question, then we'll move on to the second question. Question number 2, guys. Pause the video here, answer this question, then we'll move on to the third question. Question number 3. Pause the video here, answer this question, then we're going to move into the last question of this passage. Alright, so last question of this passage, guys. Pause the video here, answer this question. Now, if you have completed answering all the 4 questions, put down your answers in the comment box so that we get to know how many you have gotten correct. Let's get into the passage and question explanations. So, what does your paragraph number 1 talk about? A massive piece of legislation is working its way through the Congress that could reshape American life more dramatically than any single law indicates. That means there's a new bill that's being introduced in the Congress. Supporters call it the One Big Beautiful Bill Act. Okay, so this is the name of the bill. Critics have other names for it. Okay, that means people who support it call it the One Big Beautiful Bill Act, and those who do not support it, they have, well, the other names for it. This isn't your typical congressional proposal. It's what Washington insiders call an Omnibus Reconciliation Act. Okay, so this is not like every other act, or this is not like every other bill that's being passed. This is a very special bill. Apparently, people inside call it an Omnibus Reconciliation Bill. Now, what is the meaning of this omnibus in terms of law? One law, okay, which deals with multiple unrelated items is called as an omnibus bill. Okay, so it's a legislative monster that bundles together sweeping changes to taxes, energy policy, and healthcare into one giant package that can pass with just 51 Senate votes. Apparently, this can pass with less votes than normal, and it has a lot of different things that's encompassed into one big bill. Okay, the bill touches nearly every aspect of American economic life. It would permanently extend tax cuts for individuals and businesses, eliminate most clean energy subsidies, impose work requirements on medical recipients, and add over $3 trillion to the national debt over the next decade. So it does a lot of things. Now, is there anything positive in it? Is there anything negative in it? We cannot directly tell, but from the tone, it mostly seems like the author is not really in the favor of the bill. Okay, so for supporters, it represents a fundamental reorientation of national priorities towards economic growth and personal responsibility. So what's he saying? For the supporters, they are the ones who are thinking about this bill as some kind of a reorientation of national priorities. That means they're bringing back some priorities, okay, and that too towards the economic growth, okay, and personal responsibility. For opponents, okay, those who do not agree, it's a physically reckless giveaway to the wealthy that will harm millions of vulnerable Americans. So opponents say that this is all financially very irresponsible a bill. You're just saying that you're going to give all this, but it's only going to help the wealthy and not the average American worker. Okay, so let's get into the second paragraph. The Congressional Budget Office estimates that the bill would cost 16 million Americans to lose health insurance while providing the richest 1% of taxpayers with an average annual tax cut of nearly $26,000. Okay, so what's he saying? That a lot of Americans are going to lose their health coverage, health insurance altogether, whereas the 1%, richest 1%, are going to save even more money. Obviously, this shows us that the author is not very particularly fond of this bill, correct? right? So let's go forward. The bill's approach reflects a broader transformation in how American government operates. Rather than addressing issues one at a time through careful deliberation, Congress increasingly governs through massive packages that compress months of potential debate into days of intense activity. So what's he saying? He's saying that this bill is kind of telling us about now the sentiments or the approach that the government currently is having towards the legislative work. Instead of taking time and discussing this through, okay, over here the word deliberation means to discuss. Okay, so instead of taking time to discuss things through, they are rushing everything. They're packing all of it into one or few days of, debate, and then they are moving forward with the activity. This legislative strategy has become the new normal, not because it produces better policy, but because traditional processes have broken down under the weight of partisan polarization and institutional dysfunction. That means what? This way of compressing the work has come into picture, not because it gives you better results, okay, but because if you take too much time, there could be something called as partisan polarization. That means you moving towards one extreme of the party, any one party. You have only two parties, right? The Democratic Party and the Republican Party. So your ideologies could shift and you could move into any one side completely, and institutional dysfunction, because of which no bill would ever be passed, apparently, okay? So the big beautiful bill represents both the culmination of this trend and the test of its limits. So it also talks about, what is the power that this kind of a process could have. Most laws start small and focused. A representative or a senator identifies a problem, drafts a bill to address it, and then the proposal works its way to the committees where experts can examine every detail. So now what's he talking? Normally what happens that a senator goes, he identifies a problem in the public or in the service that's going on, and then he writes a bill to change that, and then committees look over it. That's the normal process. Probably in the next paragraph he'll tell us what is happening right now. The big beautiful bill works differently. Instead of addressing one issue at a time, it packages together dozens of major policy changes into single massive measure that gets an up or a down vote. So what's it doing? Instead of tackling one issue at a time, like a normal senator would bring up one issue, unlike that, this is bringing in all the issues together into one place. Okay, so now what will happen? Either someone can vote up for this, saying that yes, this will pass, or down. That means all the things that are bundled into it will either be upvoted or downvoted, right? This bundling strategy serves multiple political purposes. So there's some reasons why this is good. By combining popular provisions with controversial ones, leaders can build coalitions that might not exist if each item were voted on separately. Now, what is a coalition? Coalition is basically forming a group. Okay, in this context, you can think of it as forming a group, right? So, by combining popular ones with controversial ones. So what's that meaning? It means that things that everyone needs versus things that no one would want, or people would not, or most people would not want them. Okay, but if I'm bundling them together, yes, what will happen? At least for the popular ones, for the ones that everyone wants, people will want to work towards this bill, right? So that's what's happening. Okay. Now, a lawmaker might support tax cuts but oppose healthcare changes, yet end up voting for the entire package. The approach also creates an artificial deadline that forces action. Now see, if I'm only debating for a few days and you say that no, after this date we will vote on this, and if we don't vote on this, all the agendas will be squashed. Obviously, you'll feel like voting on it, right? So that's what's happening. When everything is bundled together, failure to pass the bill means failure to achieve any of the goal it contains. This pressure often convinces reluctant members. Reluctant, not completely convinced. Okay, reluctant members to support packages they might otherwise oppose. So they're not really convinced that they should support this they're not really convinced that they should support this particular bill. But because they have at least one or two items that they really need, okay, they are going on supporting this bill. Now for the last paragraph, omnibus bills also concentrate power in the hands of a few key leaders who decide which provisions make it to the final packages. That means what? Again, which things should be included in the final package, that's decided by very few number of people. Committee chairs, party leaders and senior staff gain enormous influence over the process, while the rank and file members, that means the lower members of that committee, okay, have limited ability to shape outcomes. This strategy has proven remarkably effective at enacting major policy changes that might never pass through regular procedures. So things that would never go through normal procedure also will go through this, especially because the top heads, okay, are more influential in passing such kind of changes. The 2017 Tax Cuts and the Jobs Act, the 2021 American Rescue Plan and the 2022 Inflation Reduction Act all use similar approaches to achieve ambitious legislative goals. So all these are also examples of certain omnibus actions that have taken place. But success comes with costs. Again, over here we can see the author's intention. He's saying that yes, this is successful, but it's coming at a cost. Now, what is the cost? The complexity of omnibus bills makes it difficult for lawmakers to understand what they're voting on, let alone explain it to the constituents. So, the lawmakers themselves don't understand what they're voting on. Okay, forget about them going and talking to their constituents, that means the people in their respective areas. Forget about that. They themselves don't understand much about it. Important provisions can be buried in thousands of pages of legislative text that few people have time to read carefully. That means what? If there's something very important, maybe something that concerns a lot of people, but it's very important, and if people get to know this, maybe the bill won't pass, or maybe there'll be a strong opposition. What can they do? They can bury it down. Bury it down means just put it in one line over a 1000-page text. Then what will happen? Obviously, no one will go through all the 1000 pages just to find that line, right? So that way, effectively, truth is being hidden away from the public. Now that we've understood the passage, let's get into the questions. Question number 1. Which of the following best encapsulates the author's primary argument regarding the One Big Beautiful Bill Act and similar legislative strategies? So, what is the author's primary argument about this? Okay, obviously now we understand that the author was not very positive. Okay, he was somewhat negative towards the Big Beautiful Bill Act. So let's search for an option that matches in tone and in the purpose that the author has presented. The bill represents a highly efficient and effective method for overcoming political gridlock and enacting comprehensive policy changes quickly. Okay, so yes, the author does agree that it's a quick way to get things done, but he's not saying that it's a highly efficient one. Okay, right, so this should not be my answer. The bill is the necessary evaluation of the legislative practice, allowing Congress to address complex interconnected issues in a holistic manner. Very positive this is. Okay, this almost feels like saying that yes, the author only put the bill forward, so obviously this is not going to be my correct answer. The bill exemplifies a dysfunctional legislative trend where broad impactful changes are enacted without sufficient deliberation due to partisan and institutional failures. This is exactly what the author has said. That guys, listen, this is all because of a dysfunction. This is all because the legislative practices in the US are not functioning well. They're not working well, where we are combining the months of deliberation into quick, week-long sessions, and then we are just enacting broad changes without actually thinking about it completely. So this should be my correct answer. If D is not very, suitable, then we'll go for C for sure. So D, the bill demonstrates a successful shift towards concentrating power among key leaders, which is essential for achieving ambitious policy goals in modern politics. No, see, he said he's given examples saying that there were some acts which benefited from this or which got passed from this. No one did he say that this is the successful model, right? So this is an opposite answer, so we can just remove this. The best possible answer for us will be C. Okay, so let's move forward to the second question. According to the passage, which of the following is an advantage of the bundling strategy for legislative leaders? So what is the advantage that the leaders, are getting by putting everything together in a bundle? It ensures that every provision within the bill receives thorough expert examination from committees. Now again guys, very clearly this is an opposite answer. He said that you will not be able to look at every provision properly. Here in the option he's saying that you'll be able to look at every provision very clearly. So it's an opposite answer. Now, it promotes increased transparency and easier comprehension of legislative text for constituents. Again, in the passage he's mentioned that if things are buried down in 1000 pages, it will be hard for people to read and for them to understand. So this also becomes an exactly opposite answer to what's been told in the passage. It allows for the integration of diverse policy goals, making it easier to build broad, although reluctant public support. This albeit you can think of as although. Again guys, I'm only giving you contextual meanings, okay? I'm not really bothered about the actual meanings of these words. Contextually, how do you understand and go forward is my whole goal with you people, right? So, this option makes a lot of sense because yes, he's saying that we are including a lot of diverse policy goals, things that are very different from each other, but we are only getting reluctant political support for it. So, this makes a lot of sense so far, so I'll just keep this aside for now, okay, as my most preferred answer. Let's go to D and check it out. It decentralizes power, giving rank and file members more influence in shaping the legislative outcome. Again, thank you. The questioner has made it so easy for us. This also is an opposite answer. In the passage, is clearly mentioned that rank and file members have very less influence and key leaders have more influence, right? So this can also be eliminated. C will be the correct answer. Now let's go to the next question. Okay, which of the following inferences can be drawn about the traditional process of the American government as described in the passage? That means what? What can I understand about the traditional process of American government? Okay, one thing I can understand is that the author does not like the Big Beautiful Bill Act, which is a new model. So probably the traditional model he liked more than the new model. Okay, so they are inherently more prone to partisan polarization than omnibus reconciliation bills. Okay, they might be prone. Okay, but this is directly given to me in the passage. Something that's directly given to me in the passage cannot be an inference. They prioritize detailed scrutiny and specialized input over rapid legislative action. Now see, in this model, XYZ happens. That means in the other model, that XYZ does not happen, right? So this could be my answer. Since it's not directly given in the passage, maybe I can infer this. They typically result in more ambitious and comprehensive policy changes. Now again, they don't aim at comprehensive policy changes, they look at specific policy changes, the traditional process. So this becomes an opposite answer for me, so I can remove this. They concentrate less power in the hands of committee chairs and party leaders. Now see, in the passage, what did he tell us? He told us that in this model, committee chairs and party leaders will have a lot of power. Okay, I could also think that maybe in the other model, committee chairs will not have the power, but it could also be that everyone has equal power. So this does not become a yes or no thing. It does not become a black or white thing, which is why I cannot infer this completely and I can eliminate it. So my right answer should be B. Now for the last question of the passage, the author refers to One Big Beautiful Bill Act as legislative monster and later mentions its success comes with costs. So this choice of language, why does the author use this choice of language? A. Highlight the innovative and groundbreaking nature of this legislative approach. Again, this is very, very positive in tone. Okay, but the author is not very, very optimistic, so I'm going to remove this. This is not matching in tone. Okay, emphasize the significant financial implications and public debt generated by the bill. Now, although I can think of this, okay, as the comes with the cost part, the legislative monster part has not come up very clearly in this, so I'm going to remove this. Express a critical view of the bill's design, which is about the legislative monster, and its broader implication for democratic governance, which is the cost. So C should be my best answer so far. Now D, acknowledge the powerful impact the bill will have on American economic life. Again, it's very, very generic, it's very broad, so I'm going to remove this. The best answer for me will be C. So please tell me in the comments how many questions you've gotten correct. If you like this video, please drop a like because this motivates us to keep you in track and help you with your CAT 2025. Please share this video with some of your friends who are also preparing for CAT 2025. I'll see you in the next one.
Hope you enjoyed learning from today's session.
This series is designed to help you with your CAT preparation and practice daily. We are with you in this journey.
To watch the next video, click here. And to watch Gurukul's CAT 100 series, study room to boardroom, the entire playlist, click here.
If you learned from today's session, like, share, and subscribe.